Hello and welcome to another pick a card video on my channel. My name is Julianne Faye and I'm a certified angel card reader and a professional astrologer. On this channel I do pick a card videos and I chat about all kinds of metaphysical things including crystals, astrology, working with the archangels, the Fae, and law of attraction, manifestation, so many different topics. So welcome if you're new. If you're finding me from SageDap, welcome. If you're one of my regular pick a card video viewers, welcome back. And I'm excited to get into this video for you guys tonight. Full disclosure, this is a pick a card video for this full moon in Virgo cycle, and I'm a super Virgo. I have a lot of personal planets in Virgo. And I have been quite a lot bit cranky today, not gonna lie. It's been a challenging day, not in a like dark night of the soul way, but just like a constant nagging irritation of multiple things kind of way. So I'm also running on not no sleep. So I'm hoping that I can still bring my best self forward for this video, but if I seem a little bit more irritable or a little bit more on edge, I've warned you. And yeah, so, you know, but to be expected, this full moon is really impacting, in particular, my Venus, and it's also within orb to my Mercury, Sun, and Mars. So this particular full moon is impacting me quite strongly. And that's quite normal. I would be advising any of my astrological, you know, clients and peeps that receive from me that could be cooking. So sometimes I have to remind myself to give that medicine back to myself that I would give to others, you know. I do want to say too, so I was taking a peek at the Astro earlier today, and in fact, I'm just going to check again real quick because I haven't looked in several hours. So Mercury is transiting at 13 degrees of Aquarius and Saturn's at 8. I was looking at this before. So even though Mercury is direct, and I'm just going to go into a little bit of Astro before I go into showing you guys the decks and then going into the pile pick. Because there's a couple things here that I want to mention. So even though Mercury is direct, it's going to take it time for it to clear its post shadow and to actually finally enter into Pisces. So right now, as I'm recording this for you guys, you know, the chart that I'm looking at is showing Saturn's at 8 degrees of Aquarius and Mercury is at 13 degrees of Aquarius. So not only is Mercury still playing catch up to clear its post shadow, it's also still within orb to Saturn. Now it's past Saturn, so it's sort of like the worst is behind us, but it does still mean that there's blocks, delays, and frustrations when it comes to communications or things related to Mercury, which include technology, friendships, short-term travel, things like that. Also, Mars is transiting to the end of Taurus and will be there for several days. I just wrote a blog post on this, and it's on my site, juliannefay.com/blog. So you can give that a read and check it out. I talk at length about Mars at the end of Taurus. I talk a bit about the fixed star Algol, and it's a really great read to just understand what we've been kind of transiting through with Mars for all of February and what Mars has been going through, and to do some reflection work on what that's all been about. So a really good read, definitely recommend checking it out. So yes, we do have obviously the Sun's in Pisces, and we also have Venus that recently moved into Pisces. I have another blog post that I wrote about that. So we have some energy beginning to move into Pisces, which starts to open up the energy more. It brings in more, it brings in more mutability, which is change, and it also brings in more compassion and togetherness, right? Where Aquarius is fixed air, so it's about the ideas and the intellect and the brilliance and seeing kind of solutions that you weren't seeing before. Pisces then, it follows after that to say, okay, we've gotten that brilliant flash of insight. Now let's take some action upon it. Let's connect it to our soul, to our spirituality. Let's connect it to one another beyond just our friend groups, kind of including even more people than that. But the truth is that we still have quite a lot of energy that's still going to be moving into Pisces. So that's only 2 planets, you know, in Pisces. So there is still quite a lot of Aquarian energy, even though we're in Pisces season. So we really have to kind of stay tuned for going deeper into March, you know, when we have more and more Pisces energy, to see more and more changes coming through. And we'll see what comes through in the pick-a-cards. I've been kind of working a process with my pick-a-cards lately where I don't go into the pick-a-card with a particular set theme or intention. I actually do each of the different piles, and then at the end I go back and kind of assess, okay, what was the main theme there that was coming through? And then that's how I title the video. So it's pretty cool. So I'm actually allowing the angels and guides to actually channel the theme of this pick-a-card. So I don't actually go in like you know, like imposing that into the pick-a-card. I let it organically come out. And maybe that's a message for somebody that they need to hear. But I do want to do a quick shout out. So I actually just freshly painted nails, if you guys can see. And this is from one of my favorite Etsy sellers, Rocks Polish. She sells crystal infused nail polish, and she's amazing. She's a fellow small business owner like me, and also a woman-owned business. And I do have a coupon code you can use if you're interested in getting her nail polish. It's in my Eco Fairy Guide, which is a blog post that's linked in the description of this video. You can also find other things I recommend in that Eco Fairy Guide, like my favorite Wheel of the Year, pagan tools seller also on Etsy, and then some other things, plant-based superfood patterns, all kinds of different things. So definitely check that out. And yeah, let's get into this video a little bit deeper than we just did, right? So the way that I do my pick-a-cards, I like to show you guys the decks that I'm going to use. Doesn't mean that I'll always use all of those decks in your particular pile, but I always like to give credit where it's due. And then I will show you guys the different pile options. I'll hold them up, and then I'll go into, you know, the individual piles. So once you've kind of picked your pile, you can advance via timestamps to where you need to go. So we've got the Akashic Tarot by, I forgot her name for a second, Sandra Ann Taylor and Sharon Ann Klingler. We have Romance Angels by DV. We have Fairy Oracle cards also by DV. We have, it's a DV night apparently, Archangel Raphael Oracle cards, or Healing with Archangel Raphael. Hold on. Archangel Raphael Healing Oracle cards by DV. And then we have the Fairy Oracle, Wild Wisdom of the Fairy Oracle by Lucy Cavendish. I also have my Astro dice out here, and yeah, I did have that idea. Let me grab that book and I will be right back. Yes, so I had this idea, this Big Book of Angel Tarot by Radley Valentine, this can also be used as an oracle deck and a divination tool. So I may intuitively just kind of flip to a particular page and see what you guys get from that as well. All right, so I'm going to queue up the 3 different piles off camera. I'm going to set them up, and then I will be right back. All right, so let's get into the 3 different piles. I always get to pick the piles along with you guys, and I always get to see the reveals at the same time as you guys do. I wanted to say also that all my pick-a-card videos are timeless, so you can watch a pick-a-card video from 6 months ago or even a year ago, and if it's aligning with you at that time, then it's perfect, right? Because everything's about vibrational alignment. So I myself do go back and even rewatch pick-a-card videos. I intuitively pick one for my channel, and it can be a great resource to just tune into what's the medicine you need to hear at that time, what are you vibrationally matching to. So please feel free also to, you know, go back and watch other videos, share this video with a friend, even beyond the cycle of that full or new moon window. Just wanted to throw that out there. Okay, so this is the energy of pile number 1. All the piles are going to look the same from the back, so you want to just tune into the energetic frequency of this pile and ask yourself, am I drawn to this pile? Does my higher self want me to receive information from this pile? It's good practice to take a couple deep breaths. So sometimes with this strong kind of earth and water energy, there's not a lot of air, although we do have some Aquarius energy, which is air, but that's fixed air, so it holds the air. So So it's good to kind of stop and take a breath, you know? Okay, so this is pile number 1. All right, so that's pile number 1. Pile number 2. And pile number 3. Okay, and then I'm gonna hold them all up at the same time. Fingers crossed nothing falls out. But we've got pile 1, pile 2, and pile 3, okay? All right, so pile number 1, peeps, let's get into your card reading. These are the cards for you. And let me just turn them over and then see what we've got cooking. I think I pulled a little bit extra this go around. For you guys. All right, let me take a sip of tea first. So I think people that pick this pile, there's definitely an energy here about a combination of like unknowns, a little bit of like the Fool energy, not in a way that you are being a fool, in the true meaning of the Fool card, about just kind of risk and adventure and not really knowing what's next, but knowing that you want to try this thing. But I think that you're also, at the same time that you're trying to embrace this energy of like the Fool, right? This card really reminds me of that. It says, catch me, trust, surrender, leap of faith into the unknown. At the same time that you're trying to embody this energy, okay, and this is card number 13, which would sum to a 4. So it's like at the same time that you're trying to embody this energy about embracing risk and allowing yourself to kind of surrender to this process that's unfolding, I think equally you're also a little bit, there could be anxiety here. There's some angstiness because you really don't know what's going to come of it and what's going to happen here. You know, we have up in the air, so that's pretty self-explanatory, right? And then positive expectations. So there might be part of you that is kind of going towards, you know, worst case scenarios with this situation, or maybe looking at, oh, well, this is how it's going to go wrong. I can tell you how it's going to go down and it's not going to be good and stuff like that, right? This up in the air card also would sum to a 9 because it's an 18, if you could see that there. So it would sum to a 9, which is a very karmic number about endings and beginnings. So I do think that it's like, it's funny, I heard this word today and it's really appropriate for this pile. Like you're on the precipice of this new adventure. You have Barnabas and the Prince, adventures, discovery, travel, meeting destiny. So you're definitely headed somewhere, and that's an 11, okay, which is a mastery number. So you're definitely headed somewhere, and for some reason I'm getting kind of like with this card, Knight of Cups energy, Knight of Wands, this kind of like enthusiastic, maybe a little bit naive, maybe a little bit like overly passionate, but still kind of at the beginning of that journey. You know, it's not like, it's not as stable or mature in this energy yet as like a King of Wands would be, right? Or like a King of Cups. So yes, you're definitely moving in this direction where you're manifesting these new things and you are excited about what that could bring. You know, this has kind of like a, I'm going to say this is a toad, you know, even though I think frogs are prettier than toads, if I remember. But I know that frogs, in terms of spirit animals, are strongly linked to Piscean energy, and they do represent kind of this like primordial soup of lots of different possibilities in the subconscious. So I think that it's this is something that you may have been vibing on and manifesting without fully understanding what you are manifesting. And I think now it's here and you're like, oh shoot, this is actually an opportunity for me to try this on for size, you know, but now that it's here, it feels a little scary. It feels a little bit like a risk. It feels like I need to kind of surrender to the process. And I think now that you're being confronted with this thing that you do want, right, this path or this adventure, there might be some cynicism coming in, or the flip side of that, which is like, oh, well, I can't handle this, and negative self-talk. And I honestly think that that negative self-talk is actually because you're a little bit in between worlds right now with this up in the air card. So you are in this kind of state of limbo, and that might be causing you to, you know, be anxious, to overthink things, to overanalyze things, right? Also, being a really strong Virgo myself, I can tell you that I have all those qualities myself on a regular day. Like, I'm very analytical and all that. So when we have a full moon in Virgo, that's going to really amplify that process of looking at all the little details and, you know, kind of being like all in your head about so many different things, you know. So there could be a need here to kind of like ground some of those thoughts, because realistically not all of those thoughts are going to play themselves out, you know. They're not all going to be true. Okay. And I think where do I want to go next? So nope, that one doesn't want, I want to come up next. We're going to go to this one. You also have here forgiving and learning and organic foods. So I think in the here and the now, you do need to do some work to watch your diet, watch what you're consuming, okay? Virgo is, one of the real gifts of Virgo is that they're fantastic about the physical body and healing of the physical body and understanding the boundaries they need to have with what they eat and what they put into their bodies, right? That's definitely one area of my life that, in terms of, I mean, touch wood, I am, you know, very gifted and blessed with physical health and also understanding just things that, you know, are better for me to eat and living and kind of embodying a plant-based lifestyle. So, and I can tell you, as someone that has practiced that lifestyle, it does require discipline and it does require planning. You know, every week that I go to the grocery store, I always plan out my list. I think carefully about the ingredients. I think about new recipes I'm going to try. I sometimes do meal prep, you know, within the next couple of days when I get home. So it's going to require some adjustments, you know, to kind of bring that new energy into your life. And I think that that's also a message for people that pick this pile, is that part of the anxiousness or fear about this new adventure is that you perceive that you can't keep up with it, or that you can't handle it in some type of way, this kind of self-criticism. But it's like, ultimately, yes, there might be some adjustments that need to be made by bringing this new adventure, this new path into your life, but you got the forgiving and learning card here. So you're going to be able to, you know, I'm actually hearing really strongly, it's safe for you to make mistakes. Okay. So give yourself that compassion, which is Pisces realm. And remember, the full moon always illuminates both sides, Virgo and Pisces in this case. So give yourself that compassion that you're going to be able, trust yourself, trust the universe, that you're going to be able to figure this out along the way. That even if you don't know all the answers right now and you don't know how this is all going to play itself out, you get to trust yourself and the universe that you're going to be aligning with what makes sense for you and being equipped to make decisions every step of the way that you need to make those decisions, you know. And forgive yourself for like not having all these answers right now, and forgive yourself for even just the situation you're in right now. If you're frustrated or find yourself, you know, just like angsty about the fact that you don't have this figured out, it's okay. And I think with this organic foods, sometimes when we do feel all these types of ways, it can be very easy and very tempting to just go into, you know, eating things that are quick and microwavable, right? And just like super fast and quick and dirty, right? Well, then if that's what the process is to make it, that's the energy you're going to get back when you consume it, right? So really transitioning towards less microwaving of things if you can, and bringing in, you know, more ways to be more grounded and more purposeful with how you consume things. So steaming your vegetables instead of microwaving them, and looking at how can I do some meal prep, you know. For me, another thing that always, I love going grocery shopping. I know some people don't, but I love it because I love picking out the ingredients and putting things together. It's so creative for me to cook, and I love cooking. But I always challenge myself to try to bring in a new ingredient. Like if it's a new, sometimes it's a new fruit or a new vegetable or just something new entirely. Like this last trip, I picked out like this new coconut sriracha sauce that I want to use, you know. So I think bringing in a little bit of that variety can also help too, for things that might feel a little bit like stale or stuck or boring. So I think that you guys are you're on the precipice of this adventure that's going to bring in actually a lot more variety into your life. And I think that you're almost like scared because it's going to shake you up quite a lot, or that's how you perceive it. But I think that part of this is that you need to trust yourself that you can handle this. Yes, you might need to forgive yourself for not knowing everything right away about it. You might need to learn some things along the way. You can't expect yourself to kind of be perfectly aligned with any new thing that comes into your life right away, right? Even a relationship that begins in your life, there's always an adjustment period at the beginning of the relationship to figure out, okay, when this person says this thing, what do they actually mean? You know, what are their triggers? This takes time to learn when you're with someone new, right? In the same way that like a new job or a new house or anything new that comes into your life, it's going to require that alignment from you. And it's going to take a little bit of time, and you might make some mistakes along the way. And I think this organic foods is saying, don't forget or underestimate the importance of taking care of your mental and physical health during this process. So, you know, prioritize your physical health of your body, which this Virgo full moon is a wonderful cycle to do that in with these next 2 weeks. Doing a reset, an adjustment around what you're consuming, you know, so bringing in more smoothies, more green juice, you know, more natural foods, you know, and really just looking at how you can amplify your game there. I will also say, whenever I see a card like this too, it can also mean that you need to watch what you're consuming in other ways mentally, right? So are you watching too much of The Bachelor? You know, I started to kind of, it's a long story, but I started a Hulu subscription to watch one thing, and then I found myself watching The Bachelor, which I like never watch, and I'm like, why is this like sucking me in and I cannot get out, you know? And I'm one of those rare people in the universe that does not have a Netflix subscription. So when I watch something, it brings in that intention and that very purposefulness, and I watch it, you know, with intention, like from you. Well, YouTube can kind of still suck you in, but usually with YouTube, I try my best to be purposeful. I still get sucked in sometimes. And then, you know, with my, you know, other sources like my Amazon Prime account, I can be very purposeful. I want to watch this movie or this or that, right? So being mindful about ways that you're consuming like gossip material or drama material, or even just material that is designed to kind of force you into binge mode, right? Like if you'll notice, streaming platforms, a lot of times they auto load the next video in that series, right? So it makes it really hard for you to stop yourself and exercise that discipline and that self-control of like, no, I don't want to watch the next episode right now, right? So just being mindful, if you can turn off, like on YouTube, I always have it set off to, you know, like, what's the word? Auto replay or whatever it is. I can't think of the word right now, but it's where it just like will upload another video. Some platforms are really tricky. Like on Facebook, if I watch a video, I have yet to figure out a way to stop it from loading the next video, and I hate that. But you know, as long as you can do this in a couple places, you'll start to get the hang of it, and then you can get better and better at it, you know. You do also have here 7 of Scrolls, Intricacies and Industry. And then you also have Look Inside Yourself, okay? Again, this card, it's very green, so this could be strong heart chakra vibes. But to me, I also get this energy of, you know, a lot about grounding and almost like hermit energy here. So this card, I feel it's very appropriate for this full moon in Virgo, because it's very like, It's very Virgo Pisces here, you know, with the green, with the heart chakra energy, and also the womb space kind of going within and taking that quiet time, which is very Virgo. So I do think that part of the reason why things haven't quite gone all the way down this new adventurous path that you're on is because there's more that needs to be revealed here. You know, with this intricacies in industry, there's lots of like, in the card, it's clear that he's building something, right? But it's not all the way built. Okay, it's like partially built, and there's lots of scrolls here on the ground. He's kind of, you know, looking at different tools to plan and kind of build this out. It's almost like very architect kind of energy here, you know, and this is the 7th card. So that's in numerology related to truth and, you know, a spiritual journey. So, and this card with look inside yourself, I think it's saying that these delays, these stumbling blocks along the way of forgiving and learning things about how you're going to manifest this and how this is going to go, you're still kind of figuring out some of these details. You might even be also figuring out, what is it that I want to ask for, you know, with this look inside yourself? What is it that I really want? What's a deal breaker? You know, sometimes we could be getting to know a particular new thing in our life, like a house or a job or a relationship, and you learn something, you're just like, you know what, that really doesn't align with my values. You know, I really can't do a house that has this feature or doesn't have this feature, or I can't do being with someone that embodies this or has that, or because you have that, that just makes my life way too complicated, you know? So there is this need for discernment, which is Virgo's realm, which is looking and assessing and kind of discernment. So being critical, but criticism holds, I mean, really the word discernment is better than criticism here, but it holds a purpose, right? Because if we just accepted everything and anything, which is often one of the difficulties that Pisces has, is that they're so open, they're so loving, they're so receptive to everything and everyone that they often get overwhelmed, they get emotionally overloaded, you know, and then they have to do extra work to detox that energy. Sometimes it manifests physically in their body even before they really understand what's happening, or they could take on moods of other people, things like that. So this discernment is really important, because if we can be discerning, we can assess things before we get further invested in them, you know, and then we can make better choices for ourselves. So I see this energy for you guys as just like you're taking a little bit of a step back right now to assess what it is that you need to tweak or change. What is it that I need to make adjustments about and learn in order to continue building on this path? But I do see you guys getting there with this, you know, Barnabas and the Prince. This is like a very adventurous card. I think that it's just like right now, it's a little bit like literally what this card says. It is up in the air, okay? So there is this component to it where it's a little bit unsettled, you know, and if we think about the context of the Astro, which I talked about at the beginning of this video, so definitely make sure you do listen to that. It makes sense because, you know, Mercury is still clearing its post shadow. It's still coming out of orb of Saturn. So yeah, there's been a lot of adjustments needing to be made. And it's like this card completely, you know, reworking the plan, revisiting the plan, being patient with the process of building this plan. And this could also be too having compassion and patience for other people. You know, maybe you've done your part, but you're waiting on other people to kind of come in and complete this plan, and you might be frustrated because it feels to you like it's up in the air, but you have to just respect that sometimes that's just part of it, you know, and in that process you get to make adjustments to your lifestyle and to what you're kind of bringing into your life right now, so you can be more ready for when this thing really picks up speed. Okay, so let's see here on the Astro dice. What is pile 1? You need to see here if you don't understand. All right, so we've got Capricorn. Okay. We have Capricorn in the 5th. In the 5th, and then we've got, this is Pluto. Oops, I just had it. No, it's Neptune. Hold on, I gotta re-roll this one because it changed so many times. Okay, so we have Mercury here. So we have Mercury in Capricorn in the 5th. So yeah, Mercury in Capricorn is about being really, really strategic, okay? And It's slower moving Mercury, which in a way, even though Mercury's in Aquarius right now, with Saturn still within orb to it, it's getting that Capricornian influence, which is slowing it down and forcing it to make adjustments and tweaks and to look at, you know, all of those little details to make sure that the plan is working properly. And then with the 5th house here, that's the energy of Leo. So this is about creativity, entrepreneurship. This could also be related to dating and children. So you might be resonating with this need to kind of make tweaks to and rework plans in any of those topics. The 5th house is also, like I said, entrepreneurship. So it can be also a house that's related to where we achieve success and being seen. I had to think for a second because I was thinking about my own 5th house, where we can achieve success and being seen in something that's very creative, you know. So this could be also related to creative projects that you do, maybe that don't necessarily involve money, but could become something that involves money later on. So you might be doing a lot more tweaks and looking at how can I really support myself to do these creative things that I want to do, you know. Okay, so let's do from this big book of Ancient Tarot, intuitively, what does pile 1 need to see, hear, feel, and understand right now? I'm not getting it yet. All right, let's try this a different way. Normally I do it that way when I'm doing it for myself, but I'm going to try from the table of contents for you guys. Okay, so I'm getting just, I stopped at the suit of water. Okay, so actually not getting a specific card here with the suit of water. So it might be that you guys have to work on soothing yourself with the water element. Okay, so bring in more essential oils, bring in more teas, bring in more showers, bring in more baths into your life. If you can visit the ocean, that could be really healing for you guys right now. It might be that you're just like a little bit overloaded in some of this earth and air energy, and you need to kind of just bring in some more of that water element. And also I think with just the energies continuing to build in Pisces, that's going to increasingly start to help you out. So I definitely see it improving for you guys, but until we get there, start to like consciously bring in more of that water element to help you out. Okay. So before I let you guys go, please make sure to subscribe to my channel, like this video. Please leave a comment if you picked this pile. Let me know how it was for you. Introduce yourself. I always love hearing people's experiences with the piles and how it resonated, and just hearing, you know, how you're utilizing that medicine. It always makes me feel so good when I can read positive comments there. So please drop some love in the comments and let me know that you are here. It also really, really helps my channel, because channels that have subscribers and have comments actually get more amplified in YouTube world. So when you're actually doing those things, you're actually helping support small content creators, which means so much to all small content creators. So thank you, and I hope to see you guys in another video. All right, pile number 2 peeps. These are the cards for you. Let's see what we've got cooking. Okay, so we do have a fair amount of reversals here. So let's see kind of what we get here. So let me take a second. I want to amplify. I mean, yeah, I want to amplify the energy of what these cards are about so I can channel it best for you guys. So I think that you guys, it's a little bit similar to pile 1 in certain ways, but there's some different notes here, okay? I think that you guys are doing a lot of what I would call prospecting, okay? With this Queen of Keys card, this is her like on the top of her palace looking at, okay, who's going to be coming down the lawn, the slopes of my palace, if you will, right, to kind of align with me. And we do have stay optimistic about your love life. Positive thinking and faith will bring you romance. So, you know, this could be for some of you, you can see how well loved my cards are. This could be for some of you definitely about dating and relationships. You're looking at, you know, who is it that I can be aligning with? Who is it that's kind of gonna align with me and gonna match with me for the vibration that I'm at. This doesn't have to be romance though. This could also be like about a job or a new home or any of a number of things, right? I do tend to talk a lot about manifestations when I do my pick a card readings. And I think that's because oftentimes who of us in this world are not trying to manifest something, right? At some point, you're always trying to manifest kind of the next right thing in a certain life area, because it's very rare that all life areas, like all cylinders, are functioning perfectly in our lives. There's always room for improvement in a particular life area. And, you know, if you're like me, you're always working, I feel like I'm always working on more than one life area at a time. But, you know, you guys know when you're listening to this, which life area is this about most strongly for you, and as we get deeper into the cards it might become more illuminated. But I think that you're doing a lot of prospecting here, where you're looking at your options. You're trying to figure out what's the best alignment for my lifestyle and who I am as a person. I think sometimes you might be getting a little bit frustrated or cynical about this process, and that's why we've got the Stay Optimistic card here. Pile 1 had a little bit of similar things come through, okay? So you're not alone in this energy right now, if that's the case, this kind of like a little bit of pessimism or negativity there. But we do have Little Boy Blue, Dreams Come True, Return of the Soul, you know, so this is like you're starting again. It's almost like a rebirth card, right? You're starting again. Yes, you're kind of at the baby phase of it, where it's like there's a lot of growth that needs to happen here. With this blue energy, this is a lot about communication, okay, the throat chakra, so might really benefit you to work with blue crystals right now. I'm actually wearing my sodalite heart pendant here, and other blue crystals, you know, there's so many. There's blue kyanite, there's lapis lazuli, there's lazulite. There's so many blue throat chakra crystals that could be really good, but this might be a good opportunity for you to, you know, step into some more throat chakra work right now to help yourself to communicate, right? If you think about babies, it takes them time to kind of study the landscape, to hear things from their family, and to develop that language, right? So that they can then start to communicate. They don't just like come out of the womb and they immediately start communicating. It takes them some time getting here this time around before they can start to really communicate what they want to say, right? So I think that there might be a phase of that for you, where you have to be kind of patient with this process of yourself of how do I communicate, you know? And I feel like this sense about communication is a theme for you guys with this pile, because we have the Scribe, but this came up in reverse, okay? And this is card number 12, which would sum to a 3. So that's about ascension and ascended masters. So yeah, I think you guys with this blue, baby boy blue, and this the Scribe in reverse, there's definitely something here about potentially a block in your throat chakra, or feeling like your throat chakra is out of whack. You're either over expressing yourself or under expressing yourself. And you know, you might be also trying to balance your mental mind with your kind of emotional body. So you're trying to figure out how to get more into alignment with your thoughts and your feelings. And with this Scribe in reverse, this is saying that a healthy way for you to work on this throat chakra is actually to write. Okay, so write things out if you can. If you have something important to say to someone, write it out in a journal before you speak it out loud to help you to kind of channel that energy, okay? Also, you can do this in other ways. Like you can text things to yourself, you can leave voice memos with yourself, practicing just like communication with yourself, which is like often more times than not a safer environment, right, than inviting in the other person. Also journaling, right? And this also brings in automatic writing and communicating with your angels. So there's a need here, and it's weird because as I'm talking this out to you guys, I feel this like heaviness in my jaw and in my throat. So I do think that there's a lot that needs to be expressed here, and you guys would really benefit from taking some time to journal and even just talk your feelings out, even if it's just a voice memo that you do with yourself and you don't even share with anyone, you know, because there might be this just like unresolved kind of like things that need to be said, that need to get expressed, and they need to get out, you know. And I have a feeling that maybe some of these things aren't being expressed to the right people, or to people that like consciously are high vibe enough to handle it. So you have to kind of work on hashing out some of these feelings and these thoughts with yourself, maybe with a therapist, with your angels, but not necessarily pushing out all that communication on other people that can't always handle it, you know? Or it's not that they can't handle it, I mean, sometimes people genuinely can't handle it, but I think it's more so that it could be overwhelming for people, or that it could put them in an awkward place where if you're communicating to them as if they are your therapist, but they're not like a trained therapist, it's going to be hard for them to understand how to meet your needs in that situation. And then you might feel disappointed because it's like you have the expectations of them that don't align with who they're at, you know? So this could also be communicating with the right people for the right things. So when something comes up that's kind of like a heavy, intricate, kind of like weird, you know, layered topic, that's probably something good to save for a convo with your therapist, you know, and write that down, like to talk to whomever about this. If it's something kind of more financial, you know, looking at maybe like a financial advisor there. If it's something more emotional, like a spiritual advisor, right? Or whatever faith practitioner you go to for support. If it's something family related, who in your family could you, you know, maybe it's your husband or your life partner that you need to talk to about it. Or if it's just with you, something you're processing with yourself, maybe it's you have to sit quietly and journal that out, you know. I also think that you guys might benefit from bringing in more people in your life that could actually support you with these different areas of need, because we do have making new friends, and this is in reverse, okay? So I had to check for a second. I was like, did I just channel this card? It's not even the card I thought. But yeah, once again, guys, tons of blue energy here, okay? Blue and yellow. So throat chakra and solar plexus chakra here. Even though this card says making new friends, I mean, for a lot of you, it could be about friendships and that kind of thing. But I also get the sense that this is about mentors, guides, healers, you know, people that can support you to move this energy, okay? So a therapist, a social worker, a spiritual healer. I do soul coaching myself. I do astrology readings and angel card readings. I myself always need support as well. So, you know, I think it's like nobody's exempt from this. And just because you have need for these things doesn't mean that you're flawed or wrong in any way. In fact, it's actually like super, super healthy, because, you know, we originated as a very tribal, communal, you know, species, right? And over time, we've become increasingly more fragmented and isolated. So then what happens is that, you know, one of my really favorite spiritual teachers that I always turn to for guidance, he talks about how things would be so different if we could just really embrace that tribal lifestyle that we came from and that we know so well. Because what happens is that we expect one person to fulfill like 4 or 5 different roles in our life, and it's like maybe they just can't do that. Maybe they're meant to fulfill 1 role or 2 roles, you know. And you have to be open-minded to get that advice, to get that support from maybe professionals or people that are specifically capable in that area. And, you know, you would be surprised how many resources can be available if you just ask for that help. I know with me, I have definitely experienced therapy from in different states and different, you know, in different ways. And I've also had spiritual healing sessions over the years in many different ways. And something I've consistently found is that there's options to access things at more affordable cost, or even through trade or exchange where money doesn't have to be an issue. There's creative ways to go about things if you do need that support, but you do have to vocalize it. You do have to research. You do have to ask for that help. You do have to ask people, is this an option? Is this a lower cost? You know, do you have a sliding scale? You do have to ask people for help, because you can't just expect it to kind of like drop from the sky, right? And come in a package at your doorstep and be like, hey, here's like, you know, sometimes that happens if, you know, your manifestation has been so specific and so unique of like, yes, I need this solution. I actually had an experience last year where something just came to me, literally arrived in the mail, and it was so clear a sign of like, yes, you need to do this thing now. So that does happen. But a lot of times But I will say that that happened, but that followed after, well, no, it kind of happened all at the same time. But in that case, that thing that came in was a piece of communication that alerted me to something changing. And then that became really clear in my mind that that now triggered a chain of events that I needed to now go down and take part in. So sometimes it works that way, where it's like you get that piece of information and that triggers you to move forward, right? A lot of times though, we have to speak up and we have to ask questions of people. We have to do the research. We have to ask these questions. We have to look on their website, or, you know, I'm the queen. I love doing swaps, you know, and what I found is like, you never know until you ask, you know, so you really do have to ask sometimes. And then we have laughter is the best medicine, but this came up in reverse, okay? Oh, I was like, I could not focus on his face like at all for a second there. So laughter is the best medicine, and this is in reverse. So, and you guys also have creative expression here. So I think that part of this whole story is that I do think that you guys need support. You need more people to talk to, and you need more specialists and people to talk to in specific life areas. I really get the sense that it's not even just one person. And I think for some of you too, this could be about networking as well, because you never know when you network who you're going to connect to and meet that way. So for some of you, not all of you, it's about networking. I think for a lot of you though, this is about looking at, I'm getting that sense, like spiritual support, financial support, you know, who can you go to for these very specific life areas and to get guidance and support from along the way. And with laughter is the best medicine and the creative expression up, this is in reverse and this upright. This is saying that you do need to invite in more of this energy of play and looking at how can you bring more creative energy into your life, right? Coloring, painting, just vibing on that kind of like inner child playfulness. This is like super inner child vibes here. So it may be that bringing in these new friends, bringing in these new resources, this could actually be a really fun experience for you, and it could liberate your inner child from feeling so overburdened with trying to manage all these things, because now you're bringing in experts and people that actually have a little bit more mastery than you in these things, and they can support you to free up that energy that you have stuck there so that you can get more into your creative things, right? Okay, let's do an astro dice for you guys. We have Neptune in Gemini in the 11th, okay? So that's kind of a weird one, not gonna lie. But Gemini in the 11th, this is like extreme, extreme, extreme friendship vibes. Gemini is related to communication and the throat chakra, so that's a major theme for you guys from this pile. The 11th house is ruled by Aquarius, and it's related to groups and communities. So this is about you guys speaking up and looking at communities that you can join, looking at places and spaces that you can expand in and start, you know, vibing in, and just like putting out more of your desire to connect and communicate with people there. And then we do have Neptune here. So Neptune definitely, it's related to Pisces, and it obviously links to the inner child and things like that came up in this reading. But I think in the context of this, Neptune also relates to disillusionment, and it's also can carry this energy about it's hidden and it's subconscious and not being seen. So this might be something that you weren't really seeing and you deny yourself from seeing consciously a lot, which is that you need more support in the form of friends and community and groups that you can go to ask for advice and to ask for information, okay? I'm gonna also just intuitively scan from this Angel Tarot book for you guys. Okay, so I'm getting clearly the suit of water and then 8. So 8 of water, which would be like the 8 of cups. Okay, and it says a desire to move on, the search for something more meaningful, spiritual and emotional growth. Okay, so the 8 of cups is about walking away. Okay, it's like letting go of things that we just know that they don't work for us anymore. We know that they don't vibe anymore with us. And there might be something here with this making new friends in reverse, okay? Where it's like, are you clinging to this idea with this one person that they're going to fulfill 1, 2, and 3 life areas, and they just consistently tell you or show you, I cannot, you know, this might be you needing to accept kind of reality in a way about just like, what do the people around you, what can they actually offer to you? What can they actually do? What is your relationship actually like with these people? And are you asking things of them that just don't really work with that person? So I think this is a little bit of a like reality check for people that pick this pile about things with the throat chakra, things with friendships, things about networking and seeking in community, you know. And I'm getting a nudge because there's this one small spiritual group that I was on the fence about joining in February, and as I was channeling this message for you guys, I'm like, yeah, I gotta make a note to circle back to that because it's something that I think would be really fun for me. And I think that that's also part of it. It's like, you guys might feel scared or worried that you're not going to fit in with people, or that like it's not going to work out, that you're not going to say the right things, you know. And I think ultimately it's like, well, you don't know until you try. Literally, you guys had stay optimistic about your love life, so you don't know what's going to happen. It could be so miraculous and amazing, the things that come out of connecting with new people. So push yourself a little bit, give it a whirl. You know, the North Node's in Gemini, so this is about being curious, being open-minded, trying new things, okay? So if you like this pick a card, please subscribe to my channel, give this video a like, comment down below, let me know how you related to that. I always love hearing positive comments from people about how they resonated with the readings, and I look forward to seeing you guys at the next new/full moon. Much love. Okay, pile number 3, peeps. These are the cards for you. Actually, I got a really quick download, so let me write that down before I forget it. I will say, if you were drawn to pile 2, that was a super strong, clear message for pile 2. So if you were drawn to both piles, definitely make sure you take some time, even if you just like intuitively skim in pile 2, to check that out, because there were some real powerful messages that came through there for pile 2. So sorry guys, the downloads, when they come through, I have to like capture them immediately, otherwise I lose them. So pile 3, so you guys, when I was shuffling cards for this pile, there was a lot of very sticky energy. It was difficult for the cards to come out in a really clear way. They were either coming out as like a lump, like 5, and I was like, no, that's not okay, or it was just very sticky, you know. So you guys might be navigating through some kind of sticky energy if you pick this pile. This sticky energy could be stuff that's maybe not making you feel so great, because we do have cry for nature, mourning for something sacred which seems lost. Okay, so this could be like anxiety, sadness, worry, fear. And this stuff that's, you know, causing you to feel this way could be related to potentially finances or material assets, because we have an 8 there, okay, which is about giving and receiving, and kind of the duality of how things come in and they go out. And then you do have feeling safe here. So this is strongly linked to the root chakra, you know, and a lot of times these things in life, you know, money, material assets, housing, these things in life, they're strongly linked to our root chakra, you know, and we can feel more safe when we have more stability in those areas, right? So I think that there's this vibe here of you feeling kind of unsettled, that sticky energy, feeling a little bit, or a lot bit, potentially anxious and worried that you don't have the right clarity here about how your needs are going to get met, that you don't feel safe in the way that things are right now, you know. But we have some good news here. So we have expect a miracle. Okay, so you can definitely pray to Archangel Raphael for help. Archangel Raphael is an archangel related to heart healing and also relationships. You can also call in Archangel Raguel if it's related to relationship harmony. But Archangel Raphael, you know, and I'm hearing for you guys too, Archangel Gabriel, which is about communication, and the messenger angel, and potentially also Archangel Ariel, who is related to abundance. So I think that you guys, there is some type of healing that's going on in this situation. There's so much green in this card, okay, which is about the heart chakra. So I think part of this is that you guys may have been extremely wounded. This might be a pattern in which you go through this a lot, or you feel really wounded with this a lot, you know, and you're really scared that you're not ever gonna feel safe or secure, you know. And with this expect a miracle card here, there's a lot of green and a lot of purple. So it's like you're definitely being healed in this area. You might want to really work with green crystals right now, or heart chakra crystals. So malachite would be a great one for you guys, because that also helps you to process feelings, you know. And with the purple here, so this could be amethyst, which can also be great about feeling spiritually protected. And purple is connected to the crown chakra. So this is communicating with the divine, receiving support from the divine. I think that part of this is like, you might be expecting to have all the answers, that it's just on you, but really, like, you know, spirit, God, source, whatever you know, call it, they're working with you too. You have people on the other side, guides on the other side, that are also working on your behalf to align things to help you out. Like, you're not alone, you know. I do think, though, that the part you can play in helping to bring this to form can be a lot about imagination and visualization, which Pisces season is a perfect time to do that, because Pisces is really good at imagining things, you know, and that kind of creative visualization work. Because you do have visualization here, okay? And then you also have calling in your soulmate, and this is in reverse. So yeah, this is you, like, this is like in this deck, this is like my manifesting it card, right? So you're manifesting it, it's not here yet, but you are in the process of visualizing it. So even if it's not here yet, really try to take some time, take some breaks to like put it on for size. Imagine that thing is like a new outfit, right? You could try on the outfit. You could prop the outfit up on your closet and look at it, you know, and just visualize yourself in that space as if it's already happening, and get really specific to the point where you still feel comfortable with it. Get into details about it. You know, what does it look like? What color are the walls? What are the smells? What do you hear? What do you see? Get really specific with that, you know. And then we have fated meeting, and then Hilarion, okay? Hilarion is a healer, and I might need to brush up a little bit on Hilarion, because I do work with other Ascended Masters a lot more. So let me just kind of check for you guys from the guidebook with this one here. So this is card number 5, which is related to, it can be related to money and change. On the flip side, it can be related to kind of like conflict or competing energies. So it says, Hilarion is a powerful Ascended Master and a wonderful connection to the front of information the Akashic Records hold. He is the master of research, science, truth, healing, logical mind, concrete knowledge, and spirit communication. So if you've been thinking about pursuing an endeavor in those areas, now's the time to start. And it says, Hilarion is always available to you, and receiving this card upright is telling you that his assistance is close at hand. It's time to open to this master's energy if you have a job that involves any type of evidence detection and drawing conclusions from that discovery. This could include scientific research, mediumship, forensic activity, law, medical testing, and more. This is the time to bring a logical approach to all your pursuits. Hilarion is right there with you, blessing you with help, clarity, and direction. So I think that there is some type of person or situation that you're aligning to with this fated meeting card and Hilarion, that's going to give you that inspiration, that clarity, that logic about what you need to do to heal this situation. When you get a card like Expect a Miracle, part of it is that, yes, Spirit's working on your behalf to align something to help you out, but the other part of it is that you need to be receptive, okay, when that person or that thing comes along, to then say, okay, yeah, I'm gonna explore this. I'm gonna invite this into my life. I'm gonna be open or curious about what this could be, instead of automatically pushing it aside and dismissing it, which sadly a lot of people do. You know, a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, I need to manifest this thing, but sometimes they get really caught up of like, it's got to look like this in this package, they have to look like this. Then something shows up that meets the qualities that you've been trying to manifest, that maybe in this case gives you that stability that you're looking for, but it just kind of catches you off guard, because it's like, not what you were expecting, your impulse might be to like put a wall up at first, right? This pile here, it's encouraging you to visualize these feelings so that when that situation or that person enters your life, okay, that you're able to recognize the feelings about it, the feeling of feeling safe with this that could be so good, even if it's like it's like an old Disney movie, like The Emperor's New Clothes. Even if it's like in new clothes or it looks different than you thought, focus on the feelings of it, okay? Because the feelings are telling to you, the feelings will tell you that this is something potentially worth pursuing here. Sometimes something could look really juicy or really tempting on paper or physically, but when you actually get more involved with it, the feelings don't match up, right? And the feelings are everything. So for you guys, I think this is actually a lot about, I need to take a sip of tea here. That pile too was a lot about third chakra, and it really took me for a ride, that pile too. So yeah, I think with you guys, this is about balancing your logical mind with your intuitive mind and giving each of them a space and a place to have their say. So obviously the intuitive mind, right? This is where the visualization, the creative manifesting comes in, is focusing through your feelings and being able to be in touch with your feelings so that when that miracle kind of aligns with you, you're able to recognize those feelings that you were looking for with the thing and focus on that to open you up. This is also a lot with heart chakra healing, right? If our heart is too closed, it's difficult for us to try something out because we're just like, oh yeah, no. So there's that piece of it, but then equally you guys do have, you know, this Hilarion energy, which is very scientific, very logical, and fated meanings. So there is also going to be a part of you that can't stay entirely in your emotions and is going to have to do the things, make the phone call, send the email, show up to the interview, or whatever it may be, right? You're going to have to be also logical in your approach to making this work out. Okay, so for you guys, I think it's a lot about balancing your logical senses with your intuitive senses and the mind versus the emotions here. And I think that as you do that, you're going to turn this into a situation where you do feel more safe, you do feel more grounded, you do feel like you can handle what's kind of going on here. So let's do some Astro dice for you guys. Okay, we've got Mercury in Virgo, super strong Mercury. That's actually what my Mercury is in. And this is in the 3rd house, which is the house of Gemini and the mind. Okay, so this is super clear in alignment with what this is. It's saying that don't forget about being precise, being logical, looking at the facts, looking at the reality, okay? This is also very appropriate for this full moon in Virgo, because that's, you know, Virgo and energy, and it's in the context of Pisces season. So it's about balancing the feelings and the intuition with the logic and the practical and the reality, right? So you guys do need to make sure that you are understanding things properly, right? So if you read an email and like initially you're, I know this has been happening to me a lot recently where like with the Merc retro, I'm like, whoa, did not see that there, did not realize that was part of it. That's super Merc retro, right? Because we rush things in Merc retro. So you might need to go back and like reread a message or reread an email. There might be something you missed about it, you know? So this is like dotting your I's and crossing your T's here to an extent. And let's do from this book. Okay, so I'm just gonna intuitively, from the table of contents for you guys, pick something here. Okay, so I stopped on the suit of air and queen. Okay, so queen of air, so that's queen of swords, okay, which is 260. So this is, you know, being able to be discerning, having clarity of thought. You know, it says objective decision making, clearing away all that no longer serves you, seeing the humor in a situation. So, you know, look at her kind of looking at that orb, right? She's assessing it and she's determining what's right and what do I actually need to do here. So this could be for you guys, you know, very much like a bit of a reality check. If you pick this pile, maybe you do have strong water energy in your chart or strong Pisces energy, and this pile is saying that it's acknowledging your feelings and it's acknowledging that you want to feel more emotionally safe and more stable. By the way, you don't also have to be a Pisces or have strong water energy in your chart. You could also have a dominance of planets in a water house, right? So for example, I technically, to think about this, technically I only have one planet in water because I'm super earth and air and then fire. But my moon is in the 12th house, which is the house of Pisces and the subconscious. So I have a super watery moon, even though it's an air sign. And then my house of for me, Cancer is my 9th house, which is the house of Sagittarius, which is ruled by Jupiter. So it's expansive energy. So this is why it's so great to have a session with a professional astrologer like moi, because you can really go much more in depth into your chart and all the nuances about it. But I think that, so it's never quite as simple as like, oh, I'm a water sign, therefore I'm sensitive. There are plenty of people that are not water signs and are very sensitive because of where the planets are laid out in their chart or the aspects or many things. So it's more complicated than that, you know? But I think for you guys, it's like just, yeah, getting kind of realistic, getting practical, really assessing your situation for what it is and what do you need to do with the situation? What makes sense to you? You might need to talk to some people. You might need to get some more information. You might need to do some research, you know, with that Hilarion card, call on Hilarion for support with all of those things. Maybe you have an important choice to make about your life, and this requires you to kind of balance your intuition with the logical part of you, and make sure that you allow both sides of you to participate in that decision making, okay? I know I can relate to this with some stuff for sure. So please, if you like this video, give this video a like, subscribe to my channel, leave a comment down below. I love to read positive comments from people talking about how they related to the reading. It makes me so happy to know that you're here, and the comment section is the best way to say hello and let me know how you resonated with something. And it also really, really helps support my channel when you subscribe, when you like videos, but particularly if you subscribe and comment, it really, really helps my channel. And for that matter, all small content creators, because the YouTube world is based on algorithms, and it's based on algorithms that support and further promote videos and channels that have more comments and more subscribers. So that's why YouTubers ask for support with that, because it's actually helping them to be seen by more people. So please, please help in supporting that for, you know, my vids when you watch them and other small content creators. It helps all of them the same. So sending you so much love, and if you are new to this channel and you made it all this way, make sure that you do check out my blog, and also on my site you can subscribe to my email newsletter, which is a wonderful way to stay up to date with all the latest things I'm writing and doing, and I love my email newsletters. So sending you guys so much love. Have a wonderful full moon in Virgo cycle.